Welcome to 5 Good Minutes.
You're listening to today's inspirational message on the book of Hebrews
with Kurt Bjorklund.
After the section on Moses, we are told this: by faith, the people passed through the Red Sea on dry land. This is verse 29. But when the Egyptians tried to do so, they were drowned. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after the army had marched around them for 7 days. By faith, the prostitute Rahab, because she welcomed the spies, was not killed with those who were disobedient. So Jericho, Rahab, the story is told in Joshua, Judges 6. And this is a great model of faith in many ways. Because one, the army, instead of besieging the city, just simply walked around it for these days, and then they were told to walk around it the seventh time, and the walls would come tumbling down. And I can't imagine being in that army and thinking, we're just walking around this, waiting for God to fight for us, when the people inside were probably mocking them for their marching around and everything that went with that. I mean, it's hard to even imagine. One cool thing about this, and I didn't totally get this until I was able to visit Israel personally several years ago for the first time, but the way the walls fell in Jericho has left geologists, people who look at it, to say these did not fall from an attack. These fell basically from the inside to the outside, or kind of in place, not as a result of the attack. And it's really pretty cool when you stand there and see that and think this is where this happened, and to see the research on the walls and how they fell. And then there's this account of Rahab, who was here. She was one of the people who believed by faith in the covenant people of God. And so she hid the spies, let them down, and then was saved through this whole event. And what is true for both the army and for Rahab was the ability, and this is similar to Moses, it was the ability to see what was not obvious. It was the ability to say, there is something at work here, and God is at work here, and my alignment needs to be with God, even though everything else says that the winning side will be against. And if you think about the culture in which we live, and this has always been true of culture, I don't think our culture is particularly worse than any other culture in history, but there's always a side that seems like it has the upper hand to the things of God. If you're in middle school, high school, and you are living in an environment where there is pressure to conform to the culture of the school, it feels as if I don't give in and conform to this culture, I will be forever outside. And yet there's something that isn't obvious that God does when you say, I'm going to align myself with God. When you're in a business in which people's priorities are only about upward mobility, making money, not about serving people, and you stand against it, then you are in a place where the cultural pressure is completely against you, and you say, no, we're going to live for something else. You're going against what is obvious. When everybody around you is upgrading and spending of their resources as much as they can on themselves, and you say, we're going to give at a significant level, you are going against the culture. When you say, we're going to prioritize worship on weekends over all of the other activities that are possible, whether it be recreation or sports for our kids or whatever, you are going against the obvious. When you say, I am not beholden to the cultural narrative on a particular point, you are going against the obvious and saying in essence, God, I'm seeing what isn't obvious and I'm trusting you. And the point here in many ways is that often, and I say often because there's one more day that we're going to look at this and it's the and others, but often when you trust God, it works out well for you. But even when it doesn't, trusting God is the right thing because it is the real thing. It is the thing that you can anchor to that transcends your current situation. So where does it not seem obvious right now, or where would you be going against what seems obvious to trust God in your life? Because that is a place that is always worth it to trust God today.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.